Hi, I'm Stephen Ham from Archery Supplies. Today we're going to look at the Scaddy limbs from Fivics Archery. This is what they look like. They come in two versions, foam or wood. I'm going to look at the foam limbs, okay? My view is on wood versus foam, there's very little difference. And any videos I've watched on it, there's very little difference. Some coaches prefer foam, some prefer wood, and that probably depends where you come from. I prefer foam because I don't have the issues with wood as a natural product. I don't have the problem with weather, I don't have the problem with heat and moisture and stuff, so these are just all foam. So I want to just take a quick look at these limbs. The finish is amazing. Now one of the questions I have, this is the top of the line Fivics limbs that I do not use. I use the cheaper limbs from Fivics, which are fractionally cheaper. It's just I've had them for years. I've never had a Fivics limb fail. And when I say that, I had one fail the other day. It was a brand new. It was a Xena limb. It was twisted. It was a foam limb. I don't think I've seen a foam limb twist before. It was brand new. So, but I haven't had one break, right? So I've had no problems with fiberglass in this. This is meant to be the latest and greatest. So my question is, do these people shoot better than me because they're shooting these limbs and I'm not? That's the question. And then I have the other question, well maybe Rashad, who's almost shooting the same scores as me or better than me, maybe he's not even using these limbs, and maybe if he did he would, and I'm not having a sales job on these limbs. Is a genuine question, does this stuff buy you points? Now, I try and get this answered by people I sponsor, because they're shooting one thing and then I give them a set of limbs like this and I'm like, does your points increase? Did they increase? Now the answer is generally yes, okay? Now it might be that they just shoot better, and they're already improving, but the thing is they don't improve by much, okay? It's a little improvement, and how much of improvement? It's so little that I don't know whether I can pick it, and that's why I haven't changed. So when I say a little bit of improvement, it might be out of a whole range of 900 points, they might have improved 10 or 5 points, okay? But these limbs, I'm going to say, are meant to be faster and more consistent than the previous ones. So I'm shooting pretty good at the moment, and I'm not having a thing about how well I'm shooting. The last week, I'm on and up, and my scores are as good as I've ever shot after being down for 3 months. But right now, they are as good as I've ever shot. So I'm like, okay, it's time for me to try some stuff to see if things do make a difference. Now, why do I do this? Because when I'm shooting very average, there's just so much variation in me. I don't feel like I can test stuff because I'm just one bad shot will affect my points by 5 or 10 points. As a result, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference in these. Now, when I tried the Scaddy riser, over a week. I shot it and the Argon X riser that I use, and I shot one first and one second and swapped it around. Every time I shot a higher score with the Scaddy riser than the Argon X riser, but it was 1 or 2 points. And I'm like, well, is that just me? Now, since I did that review, I'm like, well, I'm still shooting the Argon X riser because the scores were not great. And since then, my scores with the Argon X are higher than I shot with the Scaddy when I was doing the testing 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. So, now, and I have shot higher scores with the Argon X. I've shot a 291 with the Argon X once, but at the moment this week it's been around the 280s, 285, so I've been shooting indoor scores. Right, so are these going to help or hinder things? Now, just on these limbs, top of the line Fivics, so a lot of A lot of Olympians shoot Fivics. Price point. My price is $1,000 on these limbs. I used to think that was expensive. They're more expensive than the Argon X, which is about $900. Okay, they're the limbs I use now, or the Titan EX, Titan NXs I've got at the moment I'm shooting. So they're about $100 more. Now the latest Yuka limbs just came into my store because Yuka's just done an upgrade and they're meant to be better than the Yuka limbs of the past. So people say, look, there's improvements, $2,000 for the top of the line Yuka limb. And then I think, well, okay, what's the top of the line win and win limb? $1,500. So we're talking 50% cheaper for these limbs. Now, I think my prices are too cheap on these limbs, okay? So why do I think they're too cheap? Because I looked up the price in US dollars of these limbs. I think it's US dollars in America, and they're $1,000. I looked at the price in Europe for these limbs, and it was 684 euros, which equated to around 1,200 Australian dollars. That doesn't include tax and that sort of stuff. So I figure I'm too cheap for these limbs. I figure the real price, and when I say the real price, might be closer to 1,200. Now, why would my price be wrong? The Australian dollar can fluctuate, and these limbs, the last time I priced them, may have been in a older shipment when Fivics was cheaper, right? So it just could be that I haven't updated my pricing for these limbs, and I'm selling them off at below cost, below the new cost for the limbs. But anyway, at the moment, my view is they're really cheap. So we're going to run some tests today with them, and we're going to take you through all this. I'm going to put them through a chronograph. We're going to shoot them at 18 meters and see if the draw cycle feels different, if they group in the same spot, all that sort of stuff. And that has a whole bunch of factors, because if these are faster than other limbs, it affects my tune. And we're going to do all of that with these limbs to see if these limbs are worth me changing to. And if you're looking to buy limbs, are you better to buy the Scaddyys or the Argon X's, or just shoot your $340 limbs, or even upgrade to a $1,500 limb or a $2,000 limb? But I can't talk about those two limbs because I haven't shot them. So we're just going to focus on these. So it's a Scaddy. So we'll set them up and see how we go. Okay, so before I fit the Scaddy limbs, I've got two Argon X's. This one is the Titan EX limbs. I shot fine with these, and honestly I can't tell the difference between these and the NX. The NX should be a little bit faster, but I can't pick it. Scores are the same. Okay, so these ones are 46 pounds at, 46 pounds, 68 inches, and that's at 28 inches. My draw length is 29, so they come in a little bit over 48 pounds. Now, normally I shoot the CA 320s with these limbs, but we're going to shoot ice points, and sorry I can't tell you the weight, but we'll shoot it through a chronograph, and then we're going to shoot the other limbs, the NXs, they're 48 pounds, and drawing 50 pounds. So that's 198 feet per second. So that's 46 pound limbs, 48 pounds, 198. So these ones are the NXs. And like I said, so these should have better carbon in these limbs. Theoretically should be faster. They're 2 pounds heavier. So 2 pound heavier limb, 2 pound extra holding weight. I can't really pick the difference in 2 pounds. They just, it's all pretty much the same to me. Now the Yuka limbs are going to be about 10 feet per second faster than the Fivics or the win and win, theoretically the win and win. But a lot of it's got to do with stability and how you shoot with the limbs, because otherwise everyone would shoot Yukas. That didn't read. That didn't read. I'm not getting a reading. Try moving it back to more sunlight. $189, so I'm getting exactly the same speed with both limbs. Now, these limbs are meant to be faster. They're meant to have the rarer carbon, I'm pretty sure. I couldn't pick the difference in the limbs to shoot. I couldn't pick the difference in sight settings. There was just basically no difference for me. So with that, we'll put the Scaddy limbs in and we'll sort of see how they rate. So 189 with both limbs, same arrows, 2 pounds difference. Okay, so I've just fitted the Scaddy limbs. And the first thing I notice when I'm putting the string in the bow is how thin the limbs are here, the width of the limb. So I'm going to put it's substantially thinner, narrower. Look, I'm going to guess that's trying to add some speed to it. Now the trend in compounding is for limbs to go wider for more stability. Now, I'm pretty sure the Titan EX limb is wider than the Titan NX limb. Again, I can't see any difference in the shootability. Clicking the limbs into the riser, they were very tight and they haven't been used before, so look, maybe that's to be expected. I haven't drawn them, I haven't shot them. So the first thing I will do is I'll check the poundage of the limbs. Now my Titan EX limbs I've had for years, so they might have lost some poundage. Okay, so that's 49 pounds. So 1 pound heavier than the Titan EX. And 1 pound lighter than the NX. So, and both those limbs shot exactly the same speed. Now the first time I normally shoot, the limbs go crack, just settling in. I don't know if they'll be the same with the Scaddies or not. I haven't shot Scaddies before, so. Now this doesn't occur, the cracking doesn't occur in the Scaddy riser. It's just the Argon X, it's just the settling in for some reason. Happens, I'm pretty sure, on all my Argon X risers. So the draw, look, it feels the same, it feels lighter to be honest. Smooth all the way through, no stacking. Fivics limbs are very good, and this is the problem if you're looking for a top quality limb. The Fivics are 50% cheaper than your Win and Win, 150% cheaper, half the price of the Yucca limb, and probably half the price of the Hoyt limb. Now the Hoyt limb you'd have to go and look at because I think the quality is pretty average. And that's not me having a go at them. Just look at when I started this review, the quality of the Scaddy limb, the quality of the Win and Win limb, they're just bits of artwork. They're just beautiful. 189. Now there was a crack on the first shot. Next shot there will be no crack. Look, it felt faster. That's just probably me for the first shot. $187. Okay, so there's no speed advantage on Scaddy limbs. Let's just put that out there. If you want a speed advantage, the Win and Win did have a more recurved limb, so it was the design of the limb. So this narrower design here is not adding to speed. It's all pretty much the same. And it's not a surprise to me, I'm going to say. I feel that Fivics have produced the Scaddy riser, they produced the Scaddy limbs, they produced the Argon X riser, the Argon X limbs, the Titan riser, the Titan limbs. I feel they're the same, and they're obviously different. The width is different. They have different materials, but they're basically the same limb. The shape's the same, the performance is the same. In 5 to 10 years, those limbs will still be working and they'll be bulletproof. So now let's go back to 18. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot some groups and see how I group with them. And I'm already at the conclusion that the old limbs are fine, so let's see if my conclusion is wrong. Okay, so I'm ready to try the new Scaddy limbs out. The first thing I'm going to say is recurves are really hard. It's very, 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 very hard. I don't know how this is going to turn out. I'll film it regardless. I don't do I shoot like crap and reshoot it until I shoot good. Because I'm kind of interested in how it goes, and yeah. So I want to take you back a few years. You could win the state championship with 260 out of 300 for indoor. Okay. Right now we've got some kids and an adult shooting like 290s, but they are world-class scores. Okay, so like if you're shooting 260s, means you're a pretty good archer. If you're shooting 270s, you're pretty good. And when I say that means you're pretty good at a club, you're going to be one of the better archers at that club. Or in the state, you're going to be one of the better archers. If you can shoot 280s, it now means you're like nationally one of the better archers. Okay, so if you can keep your arrows in the gold, you're doing all right. So I'm not one person to beat myself up. I've been shooting 260s recently, having a hard time with it, and then this week I've been shooting 280s. So it's just work, and you don't want to injure yourself. It's just constant. For me, it's just constant building strength, building fitness, trying to eat healthy, and then see where things go. So try and work on your form. It's such a commitment, and the people who shoot the big scores train a lot, like all day. It's just not a thing you go, oh, I expect to shoot 280s. It's not going to happen. It's lots and lots of work. Right, so let's see how we go. And I'm going to give some suggestions and talks. Film yourself. Film yourself and see what you look like compared to world-class archers. Be a critic of yourself and go, look, I can do this better. I'll work on this one thing, whether it be keeping the shoulder down, keeping this up, keeping the arm in alignment with the arrow, the release, the grip, the follow through, whatever it is, just work on one thing and just focus on that and give yourself positive reinforcement. I can't stress enough about positive reinforcement, because if you're just beating yourself up all the time, you're not going to enjoy it. Being cruel to yourself, look, there's plenty of other people to be cruel to you. Don't be cruel to yourself. Like, I can remember when I started recurve, I think I was shooting 230s or 220s. I was terrible. Terrible. And I used to be pretty reasonable with the recurve. And then when I started back, I was like, oh, I'm just terrible. And I just persisted because I've got that determination is the word. Stubbornness to succeed. It's like, I don't care what you say, I'm going to succeed. It's just... like, sometimes I hit my chest here. I can feel the string hitting my chest. And that means that I'm sort of standing or doing something different. So be your own critic and be your own champion and go, look, I'm doing pretty good. This stuff is hard. So, and there will be, like, if you're a member of a club or a member of an association, there'll be plenty of people who will give you support and go, look, you're doing great. So I feel like it's like building a house. There's steps to this. The Australian Junior Nationals are on next week, and the kids are setting off on their journeys to Canberra. One of them put on Instagram today, I'm off to Canberra to shoot in the Junior Nationals, and it's like, I sent him a message and I said, just win everything. And but that's what you expect. That's what I expect, and it's not putting expectations on him. It's the fact that you're one of the best archers ever. So to be one of the best ever means that it shouldn't be close, which is a bit unfortunate for you because there's a couple of other good archers. But it means it shouldn't be close, and your expectations are not to beat the other people. It's to shoot world class. And if you shoot world class, then you win. It's like, because there's steps to this. It's like, I shoot well in a club, I shoot well at state level, I shoot well at national level, I shoot well at world level. And that's the level he's at. He's at a world-class level. Like, world-class records are now in your sights. You, Brady Ellison, should be in your sights. You've stepped over me. And it's now the Olympians are in your sights. It's like any compounder is in your sights. Anyone shooting with release aid, you should be able to beat. It's and you have to have that belief. I can remember one of the best archers in Australia. I was shooting with him. He was shooting recurve and I was shooting compound. He was shooting the same scores as I was with his recurve. I mean, I might have been a fraction better than his score, but it was close. That's the level of confidence you have to have in your shooting, in your ability that you can just nail it. All that training, the 200 hours a day, has just come to this one event, and it doesn't even matter what happens on this event. It really doesn't matter. That the expectation is that you'll just win everything, and hopefully you'll set Australian records as the highest score ever shot. Okay, so these limbs, they feel the same as the other limbs. It's probably not what Fivics is going to want to hear. I can't feel the difference. They're quiet, they're good, they don't stack. They build up gentle. So Euchres build up early, so that's why they're faster. So when I was shooting Euchres a couple of years ago, it hurt my muscles a lot more because I was actually holding more weight during the draw cycle. So they were building more weight. So I would say I'm shooting 50 pounds with these. That's probably equivalent of 46 with Euchres. So it's not like 50 is 50. These 46 with Euchre poundage, so maybe 44 pounds for Euchres, will be equivalent to these limbs as far as hurting my muscles. It's not getting through the clicker, because Euchres are very easy to get through a clicker because it's smooth getting through a clicker. It's just the weight. You're building up the weight as you draw back. And maybe I'd get used to the Euchres and my muscles would build, but the Euchres were definitely harder to draw, if that makes sense, because you're building up the weight earlier. This is building up later in the draw cycle. One of my staff said you should be shooting Euchres because they're 10% faster, and I sell lots of Euchre limbs, so maybe I should from the sales perspective. And it does intrigue me, but they're $2,000. That's one of the problems of just trying stuff, like trying Scaddyys. The reason I hadn't tried Scaddyys was it's $1,000 to try the limbs, and then because I already have a set of limbs, and then if I sell them off second hand, they'll be like towards half price. So look, they feel good. Feels clean. The arrows are coming out, I think, well. Which is to be expected, because basically they're the same limbs, same poundage as what I was shooting, so the tune should be the same. I feel like my shots are okay. There was one there where I had trouble seeing. Now we'll talk about seeing things. So today I shot field archery, and I shot with a decut thing here, the side aperture, and it had glass and a drilled lens, and then fibre optic through the lens, which I really like. I really like it. They're about $20, right? This is a toe point one, right? It's no lens, it's just an up thing. The problem was, for shooting field, the targets were often in the dark, I was often in the sun, and the lens would get glare on it, and I couldn't see anything. I couldn't see. I just aim in the middle of the target, and hopefully they went in there. but it was completely useless for that field course. So it's made me think, well, this might be okay. Maybe I'll go for the Excel. Shrewd's got some stuff, because you've got to be able to see what you're aiming at. Now on the one I had trouble seeing, sometimes I have trouble seeing. I'm not sure what that means, but sometimes I have trouble seeing. Sometimes it's crystal clear, but there was one there where it was just, I don't know. And I have trouble seeing the longer I hold back for some reason. So the longer I aim, that's when I start to have vision issues. So if I get the shot off quickly, it's like I'm over staring at the target, and that creates issues with me seeing. So not sure what that is. Someone said it's dry eyes because you're not blinking. I don't know, but there was some other people said medical reasons. But part of the problem is my eyes are focusing. They're going back to the string. They're going string to riser, to the sight, to the target, and just checking that it's all okay. I'll just shoot one more. Now, I can't see where they go. Fingers crossed. I think they've all been good. I think they've been really good, I think. Now, normally people go, look, I want a matching string with the colour of the bow, okay? So this is black and red, so I'll normally go for a black and red string. This time I went for a yellow string, right? No real reason, it was yellow string. And I'm going to say, very easy to do your alignment with that and the riser. So easy, it just stands out like a sore thumb. Contrasting colours. A good thing. Normally I'd go white and black and stuff, but this, very good thing. The thing is with the yellow, like you can see it marks, but very good. Let's go and check where the arrows are. When it comes to, are these limbs better than the Titan NXs or the Titan EX or the Argon X? The Argon X has got the narrow things here. Again, I've seen no difference in my scores. I would have to shoot them for a while to... This is a good looking end from here. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe. Look, it's not too bad. Okay, so the way I test stuff is I'll shoot them for about a week. Look, that's not too bad. I'm pretty happy with that. So I've got, 1.8, the one bad one, which would be a 7.6. I would score it a 7, but it's probably a 6. But again, I don't really, for when I'm scoring at home, I don't really care that much, because it's just volumes of arrows and getting a concept of where I'm in, what score range I'm in. This, to me, the arrows look pretty good. It felt good. The limbs, the Scaddy limbs, Fivics makes good quality limbs. However, I'm going to say I cannot tell the difference between the Scaddys and the other limbs, all the other Fivics limbs. I can't tell the difference. So I've got some good arrows there. They certainly felt easy. It wasn't stacking. The bow was quiet. They clipped in harder than the other limbs. So whether the tolerance is different, or maybe my limbs are older and they've just got used to clicking in, I don't know. So my summary on the Scaddy limbs. Okay, so if you're going to spend $1,000 on limbs, and you've got the option of the Argon X's, the Titan NX's, and they're $100 cheaper, I would think about the Argon X's and Titan EX's. Just because they're $100 cheaper and I can't really pick it. However, the Scaddy is the latest, and there's a thing that just buy the latest and greatest, and you don't have to think, well, what if I had the Scaddy limbs? Which is where we started this video at. So this gets down to your budget. I think the Fivics limbs are significantly cheaper, and like I said, I've probably got them priced wrong, significantly cheaper than Win and Yukas and Hoyt, that it's not even a question. So if you own those bows, why aren't you shooting Fivics? It makes no sense to me whatsoever. I do take the point that if you want more speed and you're shooting 90 meters, or if you're shooting light poundage and you're looking for more speed, or you're a shorter draw length and you need more speed because you don't have the power, then Yukas are something to consider because they are significantly faster than the other limbs on the market. I would certainly look at the Win limbs because they used to do like a limb halfway between a standard limb and a Yuka limb, which is interesting. So it'll be like 5-6 feet per second faster. Now I'm going to talk about high poundage and low poundage. The lighter poundage bows will shoot similar speeds that I'm shooting, right? So no real advantage on the higher poundage because the weight of the arrows is different. However, if it's a windy day and you've got heavier arrows and shooting that speed, you'll get less wind drift than the lighter arrows at the same speed. The heavier bow gets off your fingers cleaner. So as long as you can aim and not shake, so as long as you're not doing that, then heavier is theoretically better because I feel that heavier, as long as your body can cope with it, I feel it's better because I feel like I get more back tension, I feel like I get more release than the lighter poundage. I enjoy it because I feel and look like I'm building strength. So when I look at myself, I go, when I'm shooting recurve, this part of me and my back is developing, right? When I shoot compound, I don't feel that my shoulders, back is building in strength because I'm holding like 10 pounds, right? So people say you don't need high poundage, and I agree, but for me it's part of fitness, and part of it is, well, now I've got to shoot every day to maintain the poundage, I've got to do weights every day, and I should also be doing cardio. It's a whole lifestyle thing for me. So if I want to shoot 50 pounds, I've got to work on my shoulders, I've got to work on my weights, I've got to work on strength, I've got to work on cardio, I've got to work on my diet, and I've got to not eat sugars. So it's a whole lifestyle thing for me, so that's why I do it. So part of the question to me is, you know, do I go up in poundage to like 52 pounds, which would then make it a 54 pound, because I am coping with this poundage. I feel pretty good at the moment. So anyway, so the Scaddies, I am more than happy. I think they look fantastic. I think the finish is fantastic. I've had no warranties with Scaddies, no warranties with top of the line Fivics limbs. I think the pricing is great, and I feel like what Fivics say about the Scaddies, I don't understand, because I don't know what it all means. If someone said, look, there's less vibration, or they're faster, I'd understand that, or more stable. So they move, and Win do this, they go, there's less sideways vibration, so therefore you get less left and rights. I'd understand that. The thing is, for me, like shooting this group, that's about what I shoot every night. Like they're fractionally lower than what I normally shoot. that's okay, because I only shot 3 arrows before shooting the video. One was a 10, one was a 9 just there, and the other one was down here. So I'm pretty happy with that. So Fivics Skaddy's more than happy with, good pricing, but if you can get other limbs cheap, I don't think it's going to be any disadvantage to you whatsoever. So I will keep shooting these Scaddies for a week to see if I do shoot a better score. So yeah, and I'm going to say the biggest impact on your shooting is you. The more you train, the more you work on your form, the more you work on yourself, that will be the biggest impact overall. I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. Thanks for watching. Bye.